The military installation's practice field buzzed with activity commands shouted across the space, footsteps scuffing against packed earth. The sharp sound of equipment being maintained that thought this was supposed to be just another standard day. Drills, demonstrations, performance reviews. Trainees assembled in formation, perspiration rolling down their faces while instructors circled like predators. Waiting to strike at the slightest error, overseeing everything stood a commanding officer, whose uniform displayed numerous commendations. His expression unreadable, his voice carrying across the grounds with authority. "I require someone to step up. Right now." Every service member froze in place. Putting yourself forward in front of this senior officer and the merciless instructors could result in public embarrassment, severe consequences, or complete humiliation. Most kept their eyes downward, desperately hoping to avoid selection. Then, from the outer edge of the gathered troops, a figure moved forward without fanfare. Not a battle-hardened trainee, not an ambitious commissioned officer. The administrative clerk, wearing standard-issue uniform, her fingers showed traces of pen ink from endless hours processing documents and authorizing paperwork. Everyone recognized her as the reserved woman from the administrative office, practically invisible to the majority. She wasn't assigned to any combat units. She had no business being on this field. Snickers rippled through the assembled crowd as an instructor advanced, looming over her with a contemptuous smirk. "You're volunteering? What's your plan round me and bureaucracy?" His taunt triggered waves of laughter throughout the formation. Even the newest trainees grinned, convinced this would end badly for her. The general's expression remained unchanged. He simply signaled for the instructor to continue. The unspoken directive was clear: put her to the test. The sergeant positioned himself confidently, stance aggressive, ready to demonstrate her incompetence. What unfolded next brought absolute silence across the entire training ground. The clerk moved with velocity nobody anticipated. In one instant she stood motionless, in the next she'd breached his defense. Her strikes came like electricity, measured, exact, crushing. Within heartbeats, the imposing instructor lay sprawled on the ground, his arm immobilized, his face pressed into the dirt, completely helpless. The mockery vanished immediately. Quiet descended like a physical weight. Trainees who'd been exchanging jokes moments earlier now stood paralyzed, expressions shocked, mouths hanging open. These weren't ordinary techniques. This was the unmistakable signature of advanced tactical training movements too calculated and brutal to be anything except special operations level. The commanding officer approached deliberately, examining her carefully. "Where did you receive this training?" He pressed. The clerk remained silent. She stood composed, her gaze unwavering, as though the scrutiny of the entire installation meant absolutely nothing to her. Eventually, she spoke barely above a whisper. "I shouldn't have been deployed here." The implication struck like an explosion. Murmurs spread rapidly through the ranks. Speculation about undercover operatives, secret assignments, and personnel who vanished into classified programs ignited instantly. The administrative clerk was far from an average office worker. She carried a lethal, concealed history that possibly exceeded even this general's security clearance. The general issued one final directive going forward: "She be your instructor." And from that moment on, the ridicule ceased. The trainees understood that the unassuming woman, who'd once organized files, was actually something far different, a walking myth hidden in plain sight.